Howdy, folks. It's Meandering Mike in the man cave of madness. It's just before midnight. We are doing a special unboxing of Napoleon, new game by Ted Raicer from GMT Games. Now, what's different about this? Well, if you want the regular kind of unboxing, we'll try to make that part short. I'll put a link, down in the description where you can get straight to the unboxing portion. Get to see the cards and the map and the rulebook and all that cool stuff. Before we go there, I want to give a little story about my relationship with Napoleon. So what does that all mean? So Napoleonic Games was not my very first war game, but it was my first loved war games. The SPI Napoleon at War Quad with Wagram and Jena Arstadt and Marengo and the Battle of Nations, Leipzig. Those fascinated me, and those were my favorite games early on in my SPI game career starting out. And I continued to gobble up every Napoleonic game I could find over the years. And even after I got out of wargaming completely in the early 1990s, when I started to come back, one of the first things I started to pick up was Napoleon at War Quad, Napoleon's Last Battle Quad, as many things as I could and I could find. Now, I didn't read a lot when I was a kid, but one of the things that I did start reading was some Napoleon. Now, I got an array of books back here. I have in my collection currently 40, 50 Napoleon books like this. These are books that are in the main house here that I have not yet read that I want to read. This is like my current want to read list. I mean, I literally have, 4 dozen or more books on Napoleon. I rarely have read straight through any of them, or at least early in my reading. I read bits and pieces of Chandler's Campaigns of Napoleon, like the classic tome. The first book that I read straight through on Napoleon, don't remember the author's name, but it was sometime in the 80s. It was called like Blundering to Glory. So it was this guy's take on Napoleon really being a blunderer and happening to get lucky and stuff. And, people have come with many different theories of his style of leadership, his desire for it and his path to power, biographies, military history, commander strategy, his legal things. So this was all sort of a jumble in my brain. I did not learn my Napoleon linearly. It was from a game here, a game there, a book here, a book there, and I didn't sit down and read, straight through a full, history of Napoleon in my early years. But I had this desire to sort of understand that, to try to get a better grasp on it, and the interweaving of military aspects, the political, his social life. And so in a sense, this was the game that I sort of like wanted, that somehow tying this all together in a sort of an epic scale of understanding of this lad's humble beginning, being, Corsican and starting small, 1793, he was just like an artillery lieutenant at the Battle of Toulon, and ending up eventually being emperor, and all the the legal, political, romantic intertwining search, trying to desperately trying to make sure he had a legitimate heir and all that. So I have very high hopes for this game. This is my relation to Napoleon. This game, when I heard about this coming out, I couldn't wait, and so it has now arrived, and I'm looking forward to delving. And I'm hoping it is going to capture the experience that I want to see between the bits and pieces of history I've learned in different ways and my gaming addiction too. So, with that all said, we will now start to unbox this. Now, I've already taken the shrink off because it was so much glare. With this darker color cover, the glare was ridiculously crazy. So I want you to take a closer look at this cover here. This is brilliant, beautiful art. The young Napoleon at his studies, the light from some wall sconces or candles, which you don't see, but projecting the shadow on the wall. The future of this lad, this young lad, this boy. Hard to tell exactly what age he is here, but and his future. Love this cover. Now, something else I want to note about the cover, people might not know, there's a classic French Liberty coin. This is a classic French symbol from the period, the bee with the laurel leaf wreaths. That's on both sides here. And the classic, oh wait, that's just a UPC code. I'll share you here. I do enjoy, Napoleonic symbology, the classic N in the laurel leaf wreath, the bees. Here's another one. So this is literally, 90% the same as that there. It's a different, style depiction of the bee and the differently, but this symbology is all over the place, All right. In we go to the box. So put that back there. All right, I'm going to get a little prop there so we can see that. Tilt down. I'm going to pull things out first and then start looking at them. Matte rulebook, so it's not glossy. I mean, there's a little bit of light bouncing off there, but this is not glossy. Playbook. All right. This is a player's aid card. All right. Campaign battle map. Okay, there's chart on the back. Potential campaign selection table. So obviously, this is potential campaigns table. So if you're using this, it's only for the battle. Okay, so during the duration of a battle, you shouldn't have to be consulted. So that's why you can double side those. All right. Small counter sheet. Nice rounded corners. This we might as well take a look at since we're here. So they are back printed. Let's make sure. Yep. They appear to be aligned properly, that the right thing is in the right side. I think the G stands for glory, not gold. It's glory. That's probably I'm going to assume a politics rating of some kind. I don't think if there's glory, there's probably not prestige. A is probably admin. The D, I'm not sure. We'll have to find that. There, die roll modifiers. SOP. Not sure. I normally think standard operating procedure, but in this context, I don't know. Oh, bastard son, legitimate son. Ooh, Council Nelson. All right. Now, these are designed with bleed over. Okay? This is on purpose. If you see these, don't say, oh my God, you've cut off the artwork. I'm sending, this is intentional. This is done this way. So if there is a little bit of thing, there's no lettering cut off, right? There's no number letter thing. So don't be that guy who complains that, oh my God, you've cut off some of the art. This is a art process that's very purposeful. All right. That's it outside this way, since we have looked at this. Now, here is the big mounted map. This is a rather thick box. It's bigger than 2 inches. It's not, so I think it's 2.5. All right. So, we're not going to open that yet because that's going to cause us to do this stuff. So, standard baggies. 1 10-sided die. It gets its own little mini baggie. Not sure why, but I guess that rolls around less. So, even though it's just one of them. Cards. All right. So, my understanding. Let's see. Let's go to the back of the box. We've pulled everything out. I usually look at this first, and I didn't. And I'm going to zoom in and look at this portion. All right, it's nice that they tell you that the game contents includes the game box. I don't think that's necessary. Board, 30 counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 40. So you get more. It's 40, not 30. All right. 222 playing cards. Well, I don't know. 2 big, you can't see that. Sorry, folks, because I'm going to zoom back out. Well, I'll hold it up here. Yeah, now I need to zoom out. So the 220 cards, there's 2 very thick bricks of cards and 1 like half brick. It's, no, it's more like a 2/3 brick. All right, so I'm not sure, if this was a 110, like the normal playing card deck is 55, you have 52 cards, and you got, jokers and an insert card kind of thing. That's the standard. You see, playing card deck manufacturers will do 55 or 110s, but once you have more sophisticated game manufacturers, they can do any size deck. But so depending on who you're having manufacturing your cards, whether they care about if it's a multiple of 55 or not, that's is or is not an issue. So not sure exactly how those are broken down, but there's supposed to be 222. 10 divider cards. Okay, so I'm assuming those are in here. I'm assuming that's a game of this scope covering such a long period of time. It's from 1793, I believe, up to 1821, which is when he died. It doesn't say right here. But I'm assuming you have different decks for different periods, and you'll have divider cards. Rulebook, playbook, player aid card. Okay, so we found everything except the divider cards, which we're going to assume are in here. All right? In here somewhere. Now, normally, if you are a consumer of deck building type games, or where you have a lot of cards that you have to sort through or keep through, they usually have a taller divider that's, if these cards are sitting this way, there would be one that would stick up maybe 1/4 of an inch or something. So they don't have those, but so we will see what the divider cards are. Okay, so zooming in again. This section here is, of course, very high solitaire suitability because this was designed as a solitaire game. It is a solitaire game. Now, I'm assuming that you could always play it cooperatively with a friend, make decisions together, and the fact that this has, military, and social aspects, like, little romance, mistresses searching for an heir, you could maybe play this with your wife and let her make the social decisions. You make the military decisions, and maybe between you certain other political decisions, what are you do jointly or something like that, right? Complexity rating 3, 1 to 4 hours. My understanding is that there is like the whole shebang, big campaign, and there's supposed to be like some smaller campaigns. Now let's go back out here. I'm not going to read through all this material here, but basically starting in 793 as an artillery officer and trying to work your way up. Can you get promoted? Can you eventually become first consul? Can you go on to become emperor? Can you conquer most of Europe? Or do you fail miserably somewhere along the line, along the way? It says here, let's zoom in for that. The possibility of death from bullet, bayonet, bomb, or guillotine will be your constant companion. Now, I hope it's not a spoiler. I've heard also maybe plague. So this is not the exhaustive list of ways that you can potentially die in this game. Now, fortunately, there's a solitaire game. If you die, you just play it again. So some people might not appreciate it. Oh, it's so random, I just died. Well, this is the real risks, in your decision to take risks in that, in the name of going for the glory or not. It says here, only remember, if glory is but for a day, obscurity is forever. Okay, this is what I'm hoping for. This sums up sort of my anticipated relation with this game. I want to make decisions where maybe I know, me, Meandering Mike, that invading Russia is a bad idea, right? We all know that. Invading Russia is a horrible idea. But I want to be in the middle of the game, and in the name of glory, if you don't have enough glory, it's like, can you truly win? Can you be the best Napoleon ever if you don't have enough glory? And I want to be faced with this decision to invade Russia or not. I want to be tempted. I want to say, oh my God, so much, we need to smack these Russians down. They broke away from participating in my blockade from England, and I need to put them in place. And just, think of the glory if we defeat them, crush these pesky Russians. And I want to be tempted by that. So that sort of sums up again my relationship with my desire of what I want out of this game. I want to feel immersed and engrossed, and I want to be tempted to make, in retrospect, stupid decisions, but for the glory of it. All right, so that's Meandering Mike meandering on about all that good stuff. Let's get back to, I'm zooming out. Boop, boop. I am going to open cards. So I've opened the smaller deck, and in it, these here appear to be those divider cards. There are 10 of them. So there are Abdication deck. This is sort of going back in reverse order. The 1814 period, which was, first exile. But EMD, which I believe stands for the Emperor deck. 1810, 1809, 1807. So these are probably the campaigning years where you change certain things. Now, FCT, I believe this stands for the First Consul deck. This is card 29, or, so that's, it lists the cards that go in them here. 1796. So this is also First Consul, so that's interesting that there's more than one of those. CMD, I believe these are commanders. 1796. So those are the 10 divider cards. All right. Now, I sorted through after dropping the deck on the ground. Yes, while opening it. So I believe that this is the deck that they're in, because there's Emperor and EMD. Now, sometimes there's more than one thing down here. And I don't know, some of these cards have a thing here, which I think has to do with when they're removed or discarded. There's text. So this is Napoleon himself, right? Once he's Emperor. And I believe the A is for admin. There's a discussion on the cards. Like these two cards are, one or the other can be in play. Either the Pope crowns Napoleon or Napoleon crowns himself, right? It's one or the other. So only one of these will end up being in play. But this can only be played if the Papal Concordat is in current treaties. So if that doesn't happen, Napoleon's going to have to crown himself. All right? The Polish question, Grand Duchy of Warsaw or Kingdom of Poland, it says like, oh, this allows certain other cards. So Maria Waleska and Poniatowski, he's a commander. She's a potential mistress. Interesting little thing. Roll die. 1, no effect. 2 through 10, you place her in Napoleon's bed and put a bastard son token in the I Napoleon box. Okay, very, very, very fascinating. I'm not going to go through all these cards, but these are a bunch of the EMD cards. Now, I think there may be more in these other decks because there's some gaps and some numbers like, well, where's card 137? I mean, it goes 136, 138, and these were pretty much sequential up through, well, no, there was a stop here, I think, at 163, yeah, and then there's this big jump, and it jumps up to 221. But this is part of the EMD deck, Spanish ulcer expeditions. Is it an ulcer or is it an ulcer? Not sure how you pronounce that. So in that first little short, smaller deck, these are the EMD cards. Some of them are obviously like, not the, like, one card for 1807, one card for 1840. I'm expecting to find more of those in these other ones. Some FCD. Nope. Again, I'm looking at that's like when it's removed or discarded or something. So there's 1796. 32. I don't. Like there wasn't a divider card for that, right? There was 29 FCD. There was nothing that said 32. So that one's a mystery to me. Is the mysterious, good. See, this is the card, sequential card. This is the name of the deck or the era. So like I said, we had 1807, 1814, a few 1796s. Gonna set those aside. We had some commanders. Now, this is on the back. Some of these tell you like put it in a certain box on the map, strategy and tactics. Place face down in the I Napoleon box. Now, this is like as he transmutes over time, so when he was emperor, he gets +4 admin a year. When he's generally only getting +2. So obviously there's certain benefits to progressing through. The farther you can get, the more certain benefits that you have, but also there's going to be downsides in terms of like certain expectations for glory and what you need to do when you're emperor versus just general or first consul or whatnot. So that's more to discover and find out. Oh yeah, that was part. These were 2 EMD ones. This is the family, Louis and Joseph, and it's very interesting that Louis can go off and you can get him in the Kingdom of Holland if you have this king-making card, making kings. And same thing with Joseph. You can potentially, if you have this card. Otherwise, this guy, if he's sitting in the Bonaparte family, you're losing glory. And same with Joseph. You lose 2 glories. You potentially, these guys hanging around, you're losing 3 glory a turn. But if you get him actually out there, you gain glory. So if he's off there administering Holland for you, you're getting 2 glory a turn instead of losing 1. And this guy can either, Joseph, can either go to Naples for 1 glory turn or +2 if you send him off to Spain. But like Spain requires, besides the making game, also you have to have Bayonne card in effect. So it's very interesting how the prerequisites for the cards, what can happen when, the effects is, I'm just, this is so fast. This is so intriguing to me. I'm like drooling, wanting to get to it, So that was with the other Emperor deck guys. Where did I set that? They're over here. That's this. The glare, you can't see that. There he is. So these were 114. So again, a gap. Now this is interesting. These FCD, the first console deck. This one says first campaign. Or some of these are say like potential campaign. So you have a pool of certain campaigns that you can elect to, or maybe they need other cards to trigger them. And then this is probably a mandatory thing. Like this is the campaign. Your first console. You're gonna go have to do this. Is my guess. And we had 2 other cards here. Abdication. 2. Okay, so now this is 222 and 215. So again, everything is not so some of those gaps in numbers are obviously going to be because we had like a 221 that was so things are. I wonder if you want to play like the pure historical, you put everything in this numerical order. And you do them instead of like shuffling decks. You actually do them in this order. This will maybe I don't know. That would be interesting. That would be nice to actually do that. But I can see how the need for like these. This is probably going to be a little difficult to set up the first time around, trying to figure out all this stuff with the different decks and the prerequisites and that things. But once you've got the hang of it, it's probably much easier. And some people have thought that it was the replayability. I think so. I mean, between the fact that there's supposed to be different shorter campaigns and the whole thing, and all these different cards that are mutually exclusive, like if this happens, that can't happen, or this removes that one. I definitely, and especially if you die, right? I saw one. Oh, there was the one in there about this one here. Bonaparte leads. You can get a +3 die roll modifier in 1 combat in a campaign. But when used, roll this die. Look, you have 2 out of 10 chances. 20% chance of just dying. That's it. Game over, dude. But you could be wounded and actually gain 5 glory. It's like, hey, he's so awesome. He went out there leading, and he got wounded, right? So you can get your +3, but you can. So it's like, oh, I need glory. Let's throw Napoleon to battle more. But it could be game over. Just game over. And some people might be tempted. Soldier, no, I don't want that to happen. Well, then don't roll the die. Don't use this. This is optional. This is not mandatory. Right? So, be prepared to have it all end. That's the way to play. No guts, no glory, and oh boy, your guts could be spilled over and you could be dead. All right, so I'm going to open more cards. Now, we're not going to look through all these cards. There's more first console decks, more Emperor decks. I'm going to assume, there's more Abdication. Right now, I'm going to keep these in order. There might be a reason. It might say, like, don't shuffle these up. Don't mix these all up. I probably should have maybe looked at that first. So I'm going to keep this stack there. Enemy cavalry charge, campaign modifiers, so parasite, lots of cool things. Metternich. Oh, there you go. Typhus. I guess supposedly there's other diseases that can strike. Barclay de Tolly. Tyrant. Bayonne. There's that Bayonne card that was mentioned before. Beethoven. Oh, well, ouch. Beethoven coming out. German, Prussian. He's writing stuff, and he's anti-Napoleonic, and he's beefing up the Germanic, Prussian spirits, and you lose 5 glory. Interesting. Then remove this card from play. So it's done once. It happens. Immediate effect. That's interesting. Confederation of the Rhine. We never did figure out what the D was. So yeah, we need to get to the Congress of Erfurt. English gold in Austria. So, there's English gold. Marie-Louise. Napoleon takes an eye. Pope excommunicates. Prussia rises. Spain rises. The emperor is dead. Well. Not necessarily. 1 in 10 chance. This card. If Spain, Polish campaign, or Russia are in campaign mode. So if you get this card when it's revealed, and one of these campaigns is active, there's a 1 in 10 chance that the opponent gets overthrown. Otherwise, no effect. Some people might say, "Oh, it's too random." Well, it's a game of possibilities. It's a game trying to simulate what could happen. What happens when you crown yourself emperor and you've got enemies and people don't like being at war for that long. Some do, some don't. Napoleon's Gardens, +5 glory. Discard. So I'm assuming discard means you go back into the pile that can be drawn again. Well, it's remove is like, okay, that can only be done once. Let's see, Balcom. That's in the abdication. So big mix. I don't know if this one I did not drop on the ground, so I did not separate into 4 or 5 different sections, and some were like way under the middle of the table, under down there. Oh boy, yeah. So I'm gonna open this one up. Now I don't think I mentioned this, but some people have said that these cards are hard to shuffle. They've got a sturdiness to them. But I do feel kind of a stickiness to them. I've had this problem with a couple other games recently. They're not, like real playing card feel, things that, got sort of that, not actual plastic, but plasticky kind of coating feel, and you can do a nice riffle shuffle. Now, I don't like having to sleeve cards, but some people have said that, yeah, they gotta sleeve them, or you need to do some different kind of shuffling. Maybe it's like separate stack shuffles, and then commanders. There he is, sexy beast, Morat. Yeah. He's such a character. Look at that mane. Like a brunette lion. All right. I don't actually have a thing for him. I just think it's funny that he's... Artillery Expedition, Corsica Expedition, Piedmont. All right, so again, like we're not. Oh! There you go. Good old Nelson. -2 glory per year when you're first consul or emperor. Effects result of Trafalgar. Another Bonaparte family. Lucien. Plus 5p. That's like a politics thing. Gotta look that up. The P and the D. Converted into Dyro modifiers. So this guy doesn't have any negative effect. Interesting. I wonder where Wellington is. Where are you, Arthur Wellesley? I wonder if he starts not Duke of Wellington and then they actually have a transition for him. Senna. Cavalry commander. He doesn't specifically mention anything like looting. Ah, good old Egyptian campaign. Oh, there, bubonic plague. There it is. Egypt or Syria. 1 in 10 chance. 1 in 10 chance. When you have this, when this comes up. Oh, boy. So whoever actually got that and died, yay! You're so lucky. Could have been in the Davout ugly mug, but boy, he was a brilliant dude. All right, Tsar Paul. Nay, good old Nay. Bravest of the brave. Except when you're not. It's called raw. When you hesitated at the wrong time. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, sorry, Alexander. I'm not seeing Wellington. I know he's in here somewhere. He was probably in the other one. So anyway, lots of cards. I mean, events from history, people. So like this, no real spoilers here. I mean, you can say, oh my God, I didn't know there's a plague card. Oh my God, there's a 1 in 10 chance. Yeah, there's all sorts of chances you can die. You've been warned. You've been warned. So let me see if I can get this map open without knocking everything all over the place. Okay, I don't know if you notice, I'm back on the cards. So the two big ones have the blind back. That these here, I mean, I'm assuming you're going to have them sorted by these, but you don't know what's what within them. Whereas this one here did not have blind backs. They had instructions. So these are things like when you transition to an age or some kind of setup thing, you need to put these certain places, all right? So that's why these were all together. You had, those divider things for, these decks and some of these, and these are ones that you're going to do something with them, So before you start into an age, make sure you've dealt with these guys. And these will be things you draw. You'll have a deck for your current 8 or error. I don't know. We'll look and see what it's called. So I just wanted to do that. So back to the map. Boom. The map is up. Precariously balanced. Standing, because I've it's a little not totally open. It's fan folded a little bit. So I'm going to do some jittery hand camera work here so that you can take a look and see. I think that might be easier than trying to see it from this angle. But be warned, the camera's going to start to jitter and move, and hopefully you're not too collapsing the tripod to get a nice grip. Zooming in a little bit. All right. So, general records track. It says 100 limits of glory. So, interesting that the low number starts down at the bottom and works up. Obviously, there's a flip side, a plus 50 or something. That's it. 100 is the max glory. I'm going to adjust here, change hands. Here is the year track. You can see different symbols, his different helmet at different times. Little B symbol stuff there. So I got to figure out what that means. What is that? What are those? I mean, this looks like a card. You get draw extra cards, add cards. Okay, this is when you add cards into a deck or the main deck. All right, so I guess you have an ongoing deck. You add certain cards in. So some cards could evidently happen at any time, some will at certain, and then some cards are going to probably leave as you transition certain periods. They'll come in and out. Okay, so it's all color coded. The red years, the blue years, and the gold years. So the Emperor years, first Consul years, and the campaigning early and establishing a power base. All right. Card draw track. So, wow. So there's, I don't know, DR die roll. So up to 5, there's no modifier, no roll. I don't know if that means you stop drawing there. You can, as long as you draw 5 cards, you've drawn 5. When you get to the 6th, I don't know when you have to stop drawing, etc. I don't know how that works. That's gonna be my guess. Sequence of play. The year setup. Card deck phase, card action phase, campaign resolution phase, diplomatic phase, only in the first console deck and Emperor, which makes sense. You're in the early time, you're not powerful enough to do diplomacy. You're just a military officer. Domestic politics phase, same thing. Cleanup phase, all right. What's the table here? There's the domestic politics table. Oh my goodness. So there's a die roll with potential modifiers, losing 10 glory. So there's nothing good, glory-wise, that can come out of domestic politics. Modify -1 for each hostile, conquered, or inactive nation. British is always hostile. Oh. -1 for each bloody result. -1 if continental system in play. That's the big blockade, trying to squeeze out England's economic abilities, and it's all about enforcing, trying to enforce the continental powers to not trade with England. So much of what drove Napoleon's actions at certain times, or were they participating or not in the continental system? Each allied nation for every political point spent. So P is a political point. Okay, so my guess / assumption was correct. Diplomacy tracks. Britain, always hostile. All right, Spain, Austria, Prussia, and Russia can be allied, neutral, or hostile. If they're currently hostile, remember that's a -1 over here. If they're allied, it's a plus. So if they're neutral, they're not. Now, if you're conquered or inactive, interesting, -1. So you don't mind having a bunch of nations active but neutral. That doesn't hurt you. And if you have allies, that gives you a bonus. And you're always going to get at least -1 for Britain. So I wonder, is this like in a campaign you have a bloody result the next time you roll this? Or is this blood against the people? This is domestic politics. Did you put down, like Napoleon did, he got his artillery out and he shot people down in the streets to suppress a revolt? We'll have to see what that is. Okay, now down here, got my nail. Can I move my head there? All right, can we see that? I'm gonna have to zoom in even more. Sorry for the jitter. Whoops. Okay, come on. There we go. I'm at an angle here. Bloody defeat. Campaign combat resolution. So it is a die with modifier. The DRM's like we saw that one Napoleon. Napoleon actually does stuff. You get a +3, but he had a 2 out of 10 chance of just dying. Game over. Stalemate. Bloody result. So I don't know how often that you roll on this chart and how long that bloody result lasts. It's like, in between rolls, how many bloody results have happened and then it's done? Or do you keep accumulating bloody results over time? You have enough of them and you're in big trouble. So interesting. Bloody defeat, bloody stalemate, bloody victory. Wow. So, geez. So you can have a defeat, but it's not bloody. That it's like, okay, it's not as bad. Stalemate, 1-2-1 or less. Wow, geez. Oh my goodness. So even a bloody victory. Dang. So there's that temptation. Like, I want to use Napoleon, get a +3. But you could die. I'm so looking forward to this diplomacy table. No effect. D per D. So D is your diplomacy points. You can spend them. Move a treaty or move marker towards hostile. Now I wonder if for these modifiers, if you can roll and see and decide how much to spend to stop it, or do you have to commit ahead of time? That'll be interesting to see. All right, so and I'm gonna zoom. I'm gonna go back out here a little bit here. Sorry for the. It's not focusing. I'm gonna just point out that there's a map of Europe behind all this. Is that focusing well? Okay, so here's the Italian boot. Let me zoom in again here so you can see like that part. There, see. So there's Italy, Gulf of Venice. So the main, they have a little label here for Paris. Rouen. So you can see part of it because obviously Britain's up here, but you can't see much of the map of England or Ireland. Spain's back here in Madrid, but it's spot. So a lot of the stuff is obscured, but that's okay. It's just there, sort of for that flavor. What can we see up here? Yeah, not much of like Prussia. You can see for Bohemia. There's the Ottoman Turks. Oops, sorry, Turkey gets sort of partially obscured. So pretty much all of Austria is obscured by the Austria box and the diplomacy tracks. It looks like O. That doesn't look like. Well, maybe that is an L. Oops. I might say Poland here. Oh, and that's just the way it's got the little hat. And it's probably, I don't know, but you can't really tell. So those other boxes, Kingdom of Westphalia. Yeah, interesting that one when you there it sits there. So there's like the fancy full name, Crown Prince of Sweden goes here, the Kingdom of Westphalia, and then at the bottom is the just Russia. So that's the same, but some of them. Oh, here's the Bonaparte. So tucked over here on this side are there's just the Russia box, but obviously Russia's all over here. The Polish question, Prussia, Kingdom of Holland, France, Austria, Kingdom of Naples, Spain, Portugal, which, obviously is really up here. But so again, these abstract holding boxes, current treaties, commanders, campaign box, campaign modifiers, strategy and tactics. So all these different kind of cards. Sometimes it's going to be, you're going to have in here cards that are currently in effect, or cards that are part of a pool that are available. As I was talking about, current campaigns. Limit 1. Okay, so interesting. So there's been times where there was campaigning going. Well, maybe it's Napoleon himself. Okay, so there could be war still going on in Spain. Sorry for the quick movement, for example. But Napoleon was only there for part of the time. And so it's like, oh, no, he's done campaigning there. He's going to go campaign somewhere else. Minister of Police, Chief of Staff. Limit 1, who is going to be Chief of Staff? And there's the I, Napoleon box. So that was, certain cards go there, like the current state of Napoleon. What is he? The heirs, legit or not. Wife, Napoleon's bed. That's great. Limit 1? What? That's not right. I get the limit 1 wife, but limit 1 mistress. Oh, okay. That's a joke, folks. My wife, she doesn't watch these. Okay, sorry for the movement. I'm getting back to flattening the tripod out, zooming out. So that is the map. It's like a control panel. It's reminiscent, sort of like Mr. President, smaller in scope. So it's nice that you have all the places for the cards to go. They're not willy-nilly all over the table. So this is, you're going to have some spots for your card decks. What's this? Luck. It says luck. So my guess is there's some kind of luck token. Like that you can use once or do a re-roll or something like that. I don't know, like interesting. There was one other part of this over here, die roll modifier track. So obviously this is right above the campaign stuff. But how is This, the cards, and this is the current net die roll modifier. Here's my guess. All right, so there are actually, gonna zoom and zoom. So at the edge, you're gonna need some more space because they're saying here like draw deck. So it would be off the map. It would have been nice if like these were over and you actually had the space for the draw deck on the map instead of off the board. And there's similar, warning movement. I'll try to do it slow so you don't get seasick. So potential campaigns. So while the campaign limit 1 is here, you have your potential campaigns hanging off the side, potential treaties. And if, I'm gonna center it and zoom out. And so while you have your draw deck, you also have to have a discard deck too. I'm gonna look for spare space. Like, no, I'm gonna put this deck here and that deck there maybe. Because I'm just thinking about what table I'm gonna play on, and I might not have that space for decks hanging off the side. Because if I had to do it this way, there's no room. This is literally, this is because it isn't completely flat. This is a little bit accordion folded. Remove this dice thing here. There's not going to be enough room to have a deck at the edge of the table that I'm going to knock off like I drop cards. So potentially, if you could put your draw and discard here over the top of this, you could cover up your sequence of play. You could have a separate card. You could just take a picture of this, print this out, whatever. And if you know the sequence play enough, you will eventually. I will probably put the draw deck and the discards here, and something like potential treaties. You maybe just put them one way, the current treaty this way, the potential treaty underneath that, something like that. Same thing with the campaigns. You could put them underneath, something like that. So if you need to adjust, your playing space, if you have enough big table and you're playing it this way, long way, then that's not a problem. My wife is off house sitting for 2 weeks, and so I will probably take over the entire table. She doesn't like me doing that, but she's not here, and she probably certainly won't watch this video. So yes, I will, I guess, go ahead and usurp the whole table and give it a try, not worry about that. And then, but later, replaying, etc., might have to make some adjustments. So let me grab, let me put this away so it doesn't fall over and brain myself or whatnot. And now we have the rules of play and the playbook out here. 24 pages. Obviously, have the cover and the thing on it. You have a table of contents. All right, scenarios at the end here. Commander scenario, first consul scenario, and emperor scenario. Introduction, components, full campaign scenario here. So these are 3 shorter ones besides the full campaign. Okay, they talk about right there, Napoleon's luck. They mentioned being Napoleon. Napoleon's luck, glory, staying alive, and in power. So let's play year setup, card deck phase. So this is, there are the sequence of play phases that we saw in order. Cleanup, game end and outcomes, card play clarifications. Interesting. So there are definitely, there were some of these ones that have these contingencies and requirements, and you have to have this and only this can play or that can play. So it's nice that they talk about some of those particularly that, like the making kings, you know, the assigning the brothers to the different, well, one was a cousin or something, I can't remember. It's love, life, and lineage. So that's nice there, some clarification. Got some nice art again, the symbology. So I'm not going to go this in super detailed. All right, so yes, Commander deck, First Consul deck, Emperor deck. Tells you the exact numbers. And so that they do appear different. One of the three main eras. Important note, placing versus playing. Okay. Placing a card in a box when drawn is not necessarily the same as playing the card for its effects. Many cards are placed without immediately being played and are then played later. Other cards are played immediately. Okay, so we saw some of those things, immediate effect and like when revealed, it said something like that. So that's, and I totally appreciate this in this box, saying important like this, you know, use of red, not overdone, but here, right here, important. All right, this is nice 2-column adequate gutters. I like the matte, easier to read. So far so good. No, there are 40 counters. Not 30, 40. Typo in our favor. There are more counters. I did do the math, right? Didn't I? You followed the math, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 by 4. That's 40, right? Now, maybe there's 30 distinct, like this is all the same. Bloody Result, Dyro Modifier 1, you know, so I don't know if you go through, there's 2 Bastard Sons, you know. So I don't know what they meant by 30 because there's obviously 40. So anyway, that's a minor nitpick in the errata. Oh, by the way, you get more counters than we told you. So okay, here's a nice layout of the board, showing some cases where there's some cards. So yeah, so here's actually the edge so that's hanging off the edge of the deck there, which I mean, it's got some thickness to that. It's not a flat paper map, so you wouldn't actually overhang it like that. You'd have to have it on the edge unless you want your deck of cards to be tilted and potentially sliding off. So this, like, so see, there are some cards missing from in here. Like here's leader 22, so that's that gap. I'll jump face down, so 22, 23, there are those 2 cards here. This is face down because he's not promoted to general yet. But 18, yeah, that's that 1, 22, 3. Okay, so there, that accounts for either 1 through 34. This is how you would, this is the start. Okay, that's pretty good. Admin markers, etc. All right, so I'm liking this. Oh, more cards up here. So this is this deck, and then added by 1796. So here they're already telling you what's going to be coming up. The 1790 by 17 deck on the bottom. All right. All right. Okay. So that's, well, these are going to be dividers in the deck. These are not for storage purposes. This is layered into the big draw deck. All right. And I don't know, like when you hit that, does that mean after that they can all, you know, when you shuffle, do you, until you hit that card, you don't shuffle past that or whatever. I don't know. We'll find that eventually. Full campaign setup. All right. Being Napoleon, we talk about that. His luck, you use it. Napoleon has luck marker once per year. These are yearly turns, right? So once a year you can use luck. You may re-roll any one die roll. You can immediately ignore any one mandatory card just drawn and redraw a new card. So, wow, okay. So, oh, I'm plagued. I'm dead. If you've saved your luck, you can re-roll and have another chance to survive. And only again, so you got to decide, oh, I use it to avoid that. Oh, no, now I got the play, So there's definitely a push your luck element to this too. That whole draw card thing that we saw, and if you can potentially draw more and more cards. I don't know if you have to keep drawing, or you may elect to try to draw more, whether you want to or not. Like, oh, I've already used up my luck. Maybe I don't want to draw more cards this turn, right? This year, maybe. It's like, let's just get the year over with. I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. Got to find out more about that. But glory, extending the limits of glory. You achieve 100 or more glory points. Place the limits of glory marker in the limits grid next to the space. You do not actually track above 99 glory points. End of the game, if limits of glory marker is on the general records track, you have extended the limits of glory in addition to whatever outcome occurs. So it's like keeping it. I have reached here. I have got to this point. Whether you die or whatnot at a certain point, it's like, look, I've got that achievement. It's like achievement unlocked. Staying alive and in power. Okay, sequence of play. They're not going to go into too much detail of these. I do want to find out about that draw card deck phase. Add cards, remove cards. Conditional entry. Card action phase. New card draw segment. All right, let's zoom and tilt. Top card draw deck is drawn. You must consider the text. When revealed, prerequisites, blah, 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 blah. Mandatory cards, requisites, cost to play. Played the card, effects, existing card play segment. Played and removed addition of cards. Robespierre Falls interrupts the card action phase to immediately remove and add certain cards. After the new cards are shuffled into the draw deck, then proceed with the existing card play segment. Where does it talk? If the card... Okay, here we go. Phase advance segment contains a variable number of new card draws, reflecting the uncertainty of life. During this segment, you will determine whether to advance the card draw marker and conduct another new card draw, or to advance to the campaign resolution phase. The space on the draw card marker does not list a DR. Increase the draw by one step. So you automatically must do those. It contains a DR. Roll the die to determine whether the action phase continues or ends. So it stops if you roll that number. If it's outside the number, increase the draw marker one step and go back there and draw a card. Within this range, end the card action phase and proceed to campaign. Okay, so you don't have a choice. Well, you do. If you saved your luck, it says reroll any one die. Now Now, I was saying, all right, maybe I want to end it because I've used up my luck. But maybe you know that there's some nasty cards coming. And as you're getting there to those extra cards, it's like, maybe you're in that, 1 to 4 range, and oh my God, this card's coming up, and it's still going. You might want. No, I'm going to roll again. There's a 40% chance we can stop. Right? You might. I don't know if you like. If there's a certain number left, so that's just something to think about. That might be one time place that you might actually use your luck to reroll that. Now, is that a far-fetched notion? Yeah, maybe. But otherwise, you roll. You must roll and see. So we solved that mystery. Campaign resolution phase. Okay, we're not going to look into the details of that. We sort of saw the bits and pieces in terms of you got a die roll, you got die roll modifiers. It can be bloody, it can be defeat, extenuate. You better have some adds, or 5 or 6 stalemate. You need a 7 or more, 30% chance. No, 0 is a 10. So is this one of the ones that does it a 0, or do they mark it a 10? They do mark it a 10. All right. So that's actually 40% chance to get a victory with a no modifier, but it could be bloody. So 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. Yeah. So yeah, get those modifiers, but yeah, careful which modifier you use because you could die. And of course, that luck guy. Any die roll. During campaign runs, they use Napoleon's luck instead of paying the cost of any one commander or strategy and tactics card. All right, so any die roll, so that could include, a roll on a card, a campaign roll, on the diplomacy, on the politics, whatever, one roll, or avoid a mandatory. Or if you're in the middle of a campaign, like, I don't have enough points, I need this tactic or I need this thing, you could use it to pay the cost. So there's right there, you got some choice each turn, and when do you use it, and what's going to happen next? I don't know. Do you save it? Campaign cleanup. Okay, here's a zoom back out one. This is an example of a campaign resolution. Oh, good. It goes on the next page. That's nice. So I'm not going to dig into it right now. I'm already way over. This has been a long one. A lot of cool stuff to this. I'm really excited. About this, and just the wealth of the historical personages, events, the campaigns. I'm just really. I mean, I can see, and I feel so much better that some of that, like, oh, you die. It's like, well, there's a chance, and there's also this luck thing, the reroll. So it's like, you really have to push your luck to die super early, you can avoid it if you play smart. There's still a chance of dying and croaking. You can't. If you reroll the die, now you can avoid a mandatory card or something, but something else could come up. Bam, bam, 2 nasty things in a row, and oh no. But yeah, I am really excited about this. Card play clarifications. Yeah, we talked about the Turks. Plains love, life, and lineage. All right. So, what's this? The setup. More about. Okay. So, commander scenario here. Diplomacy marker. The outside Napoleon's fame and glory. Use the same setup as the full campaign. All right, So this is the first console setup here. So that goes, you go back to that early thing. And if you're playing first console, you use this to set up. And if you're using Emperor, you use this. So, and then we have a little glossary abbreviation. So it goes all the way to the back, so that's not too bad. So certain terms, admin points, right? Commander deck, combat round, campaign, bloody, allied. As we saw, there was D, the diplomacy points, die roll modifier. Yeah, they say which is 0 is true, but they put the good die, and this is like, no, don't mess around. If you got a die 10, and 10 is high, and you want make it a 10, not a 0. All right. That's a little pet peeve of mine. I mean, I appreciate old dice, and sometimes you want a 0, 0 to 9 instead of 1 through 10, or you're doing a percentile thing where you have a tens and a 0 place, and then which case the 0 is a 0, unless you rolled 00, then 000 is 100, unless you are going from 0 to 99. But for a single die as a 1 through 10, that's what you want, a 10. Thank you. First console, Glory. Yeah, G Glory, Glorioski. I see independent commanders. Yeah, we just remember that P is politics or political points. Diplomacy points or diplomatic points. A was admin, right? Yes. Administrative or admin points. All right, so lengthy. Let's take a quick look at the playbook. It's still thicker. 32, yeah. It's 8 pages longer. Income marker chart. Number of counters, front, back. Used 4 cards. Interesting. So for certain cards, you have those ongoing effects, the glory, the this, that. You don't have to remember looking at the card. You can say, okay, this guy's here, put this marker out there. Then you just have to remember that when the card gets removed, if it's one of those that gets removed, that you have to take your counter away. You got sequence of play on the back with more things, right? See, this to me should be on a player's aid card, right? So they have one here that's this potential campaign selection thing and abdication resolution steps. So they had some things on a card like this. I think the battle mat should have just been one-sided. So you set aside in a place where you're going to do your battles. And then they have, this should have been on a separate card with on the other side, here, let's do the sequence of play. Let's do this, a couple more tables. You can cram them in there. I do not like, I get it that it's useful to have things, but I don't like having to keep grabbing a rule booklet or a play booklet for these. Those should be on cards. So that's just one of Meandering Mike pet peeve things. But overall, so I'm very impressed with the components, the cards, the board, everything is pretty good. That's a minor little issue. St. Helena Lullaby. Suggested reading. Oh yeah, add to my reading. My Napoleon. Looks like there's some designer commentary here. I heard there was some little controversy. Supposedly some people are bent out of shape at Ted saying something. Excuse my French, sorry. I'm going backwards. I do this sometimes. Slide notes. Okay, so there's like a history of the different years. All right. The chronology. All right, then these, look here. First, I'm like, what is this? There's paragraphs to read? Like, you know, like they'll give the paragraph. These are like extra information about each card. Yeah, like yeah, it's the flavor text kind of, well, you know, extra background information. I mean, there's no way that you could fit all this on a card, right? You know, you got a couple of paragraphs there. One of them's pretty big on Josephine, so yeah, you're Josephine's infidelity. It was known to everyone but Napoleon. Until General Juno unwisely informed him in Egypt, yeah. All right. So all that good historical flavor. Okay, so now we've got more examples, many examples. Example of play from here to there. That's great. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Let's see here. So quick start guide. Okay, cool. Yeah, Napoleon's luck right there. Important, because this, every turn, you can use this once. So you got to get that in your brain early to remember it. Right? Think, when am I going to use it? When am I going to use it? When am I going to use it? Should I use it now? Sometimes you don't. Because if you use it prematurely and then something really bad happens, you're going to be like, oh no, I just died. Yeah, I think that's like, make the vow now. If you die, you die. Start over. Don't cheat your way through. You have a way to avoid it. You play. So if you get the bad result, take it like a man. Die. YouTube, I'm talking about the game, right? Please don't censor my video. This is fascinating. This is okay. I'm almost got chills here, man. God, I do have stuff I need to do. The 2 weeks while my wife is gone house sitting. But yes, I will play this. I will play this. But I can't spend the whole 2 weeks doing nothing but playing this. So anyway, Meandering Mike, meandering through this special unboxing of I, Napoleon by Ted Raicer from GMT Games. So far, this is like a dream come true. I get to be Napoleon. Now I know. I don't want to be dictator. I don't want to be emperor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that that speech and part of a song. If you're familiar with it, look it up. Look up I Don't Want to Be Emperor, the song. So, wow, yeah. I Napoleon. I am really excited. Now, maybe it won't live up to my hype. Ouch. Glary there. But we are ready and we're dreaming large, and I'm just to experience the narrative, the flow, the history unfolding, and making decisions, and some of the things, like, you don't have a choice. Certain cards happen, certain things come up, and you do them. Again, luck. If you say, hey, you gotta, you get surprised by stuff. In hindsight, knowing your history, you can think, oh, something's going to come up and I don't want this to happen or that to happen. and you can game that Napoleon's luck. But that's, I think, part of his brilliance. Is, sometimes he was very foresightful, and other times very nearsighted, myopic. And do you plan ahead and have your contingencies? And there's time, definitely, he was a master of having the right people, the right time, having the right reserves, doing things a certain way. And certain other times it's like not necessarily doing the right thing, and sometimes getting away with it, and certain other times getting away with it, right? So I just think I'm just saying that I think there's so much in this game that I'm really if it's half the experience that I think it's going to be, I will be extremely happy. All right, so let's close her up here now. Meandering Mike with a little ending shot here. All the cards are off over here, and move him. Got card decks. So many cards. 222. You gonna count them all? Make sure they're all there. I really should release this deck here because that's the one that dropped on the floor. All right, folks. As I say, take care, and take care of your games, because hopefully they will take care of you. Take care of the little ambitious lad. Ciao.